Charlie Kirk, campaigner, free speech advocate, organiser, political voice of a generation, struck down by an assassin's bullet in Utah a few hours ago. America mourns a patriot. The flags at the White House have been lowered to half-mast. Donald Trump broke the news, essentially, to the nation on his Truth Social network around an hour ago that Charlie Kirk, at just 31, has been assassinated. To chew this over, to put this in context, to talk about this horrific story, Katie Balls, Washington editor of The Times. Katie, you wrote a magazine piece, I think, 6 weeks ago? Profiling Charlie Kirk, his importance, his significance. Spent a lot of time on the road with him. Tell us about it. What was he like? What was that like?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's just incredibly shocking news today. And as you say, it was in July, I followed around Charlie Kirk at one of his Turning Point Youth Summits in Florida. And this was one of the biggest gatherings it had of young students. And I've only been in America about 3 months, but in that time it became very clear what an influential figure Charlie Kirk was, both in terms of, I think, the White House, Donald Trump and his connections, but also I think in terms of the culture of America and the culture of the young right. And you look at the 2024 presidential election, and Donald Trump has said this, others had, actually that youth vote did move to the right in some key battleground states. And the president even said, you know, part of the reason I'm back here is Charlie Kirk. So I reached out to his team and they arranged for me to come to the summit. I sat down with Charlie on a few occasions over the weekend and he was just, I think, as all the videos show, a very articulate campaigner.
Well, that's the word that people keep saying. It's a gift almost to have that ability to debate openly and politely, frankly, with anyone, which makes the incident today all the more shocking. Not just a sort of free speech advocate and brilliant debater, but an organiser, as you say as well. 650,000 members of Turning Point. It's not the easiest place to be a right winger on a campus in Britain, in America. What was the sort of secret sauce that he had? What was the magic that he was able to bring people together with?
Well, we go all the way back to 2012, which is when he started this, and he decided not to pursue higher education, but yet. Almost ironically made an entire career and movement from touring campuses
and killed a day on a campus.
Exactly, and then having that debate. And I think what it was is, if you look at lots of these videos, Charlie Kirk was not particularly aggressive. He was very much of the view of, let's hear what you have to say. He had a segment called Prove Me Wrong. When you would speak to attendees at this summit and you said, why are you here? And this summit had senior members of the administration, Tulsi Gabbard. It had members of the Trump family. But you ask them why they're here, they would all say Charlie Kirk. Because they'd watched these videos. And I think the secret was that he would go and he would, I think in good faith, really say, come up, tell me what you believe, and often it would be America is racist, and then very slowly or something like that, clinically, calmly, start to just question and digest it. And it just became a phenomenon online.
Well, I mean, it was parodied. I mean, no greater liberal sort of nod of the head. The South Park episode, 4 weeks ago, parodied as and captured him pretty well. So well that he actually changed his avatar to taking on Cartman.
And I think to that, I mean, some of the characters who've been caricatured in South Park and the administration have not taken it well. I think it actually speaks to Charlie Kirk's disposition that he embraced it, and he said, actually, I'm quite willing to laugh at myself, made it his Twitter profile and lent into it.
Look, a man willing to laugh at himself, a man willing to debate. A very dark day for America. We saw what happened in Butler in July 24, and how close that came to anarchy. Where do you suspect things are going now? We had Mike Davis on earlier, Trump confident lawyer, and you could feel the boiling rage that he is saying, and that this is actually the sort of natural progression of cancel culture. This is a cancel culture to the extreme. Where are we now? Charlie formed a group called Turning Point. There's no doubt in my mind that this is a turning point for America.
Yeah, and I think you can overuse phrases such as sends shockwaves, but this will be sending shockwaves all across America. I think this is going to be a hugely significant moment, and we don't quite yet know the full repercussions, but this was a guy who would turn up and debate those he disagreed with calmly, and invited to have those conversations, and therefore inspired others to do the same. And therefore I think that this is really going to be seen as an act almost against democracy and against free speech.
Yeah, and there's against this idea that for so long we've been told that the left is the tolerant and open-minded wing of the debate, when actually this is, I mean, clearly not. This is someone being silenced, not through words and not through argument, but with a bullet through the throat.
Yeah, and I think, when it comes to probably the legacy of Charlie Kirk, he was already, I think, one of the most influential figures on the right in America. I think his legacy could be, grow very strong after this, in the sense of, if people push back against what happened, which we're already seeing, are you going to have more people standing up for freedom of speech than ever before?
Yeah, make a thousand Charlie Kirks out of President Trump. A man obviously known, can be intemperate at times, especially in his first administration. I think post actually Butler, there's a weird new mellowness and actual higher calling to the president. How do you think the administration deal with this? This is obviously a very, very tense time.
Well, I think people will be personally very, very upset and will be devastated at the loss of Charlie Kirk, because he was a regular visitor to the White House in Trump's first
Well,
term.
he had half, literally half, in fact, pretty much every cabinet minister from Trump downwards.
Yeah.
Announcing, praying for him, and then also ultimately grieving.
Totally, and it's hard to overstate how close those links were. He was very close to Donald Trump's son, Donald Trump Jr. I think he started off almost as his bag carrier in the first election, but they attended Greenland together earlier this year on that trip.
And the annexation trip, yeah.
So this is, as well as I think the question is, what do they think the response is to this?